Being on the keto diet is the best decision I ever made. Being on the keto diet means I have so much energy. Being a keto diet means that my brain has never been so clear. Being on a keto diet means I get absolutely shredded so easily. I've no regrets of being on a keto diet. Welcome to this episode of the Mind Body Health podcast. And I'm here on this particular episode, which I'll probably end up doing a couple on. I want to speak about the keto diet, which you maybe have guessed by now. So I want to share my thoughts on it. Again, as a person who's always open to looking at both sides in every situation, I've looked at a lot of stuff about keto in the last few months and years, but really intensely last few months. I've listened to a lot of podcasts of keto advocates. I've looked information, watched videos, all that kind of stuff. And there's common myths I want to destroy that are put out there. Common, again, I suppose, facts that they're putting out there, or common experiences they share, and they want them to be seen as truths when the reality is they're not. And I want to talk through a few of them. And what I really would enjoy and encourage would be discussion here. Maybe you're someone who's on the keto. Maybe you love the keto. I'm going to give you some of my thoughts, and I'm going to give you some of my thoughts on some of the things that are being said out there commonly and frequently. And I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you're on keto, like it or love it, or whatever way you are with it, where you've been in keto before, let me know. Message me directly or comment below the podcast wherever you're seeing this episode. And I just want to make a couple of important points. And it's brief enough podcast episode because I will speak in more detail about this in future episodes. But yeah, look, a couple of important points, the most important ones, the most alarming ones that I want to really speak about is, people say, I feel so amazing on the keto diet. Okay, that's one. What they never tell you about is how they felt when they first went on the keto diet. Now, I listened to a podcast recently, a very prominent one, with a prominent host, a prominent podcast, and reasonably prominent doctor on it as well. And at least they alluded to the fact that when you first go on it, it's challenging enough. It's challenging enough and doesn't feel great. At least they said that, because most of the time that never even gets said. Here's the fact about when you start on a keto diet. For the first few weeks, you will feel like shit. You will feel horrendous. Your brain will not work. You will have such fog, brain fog, it'll be unbelievable. No concentration, no focus. Memory will be affected. Your mood will be massively affected. Your energy will be massively affected. You probably will even feel sick. You'll have no appetite and so on. These are the real results. Now, you'll always have exceptions to everything. So there'll always be people who will do it immediately, feel amazing. And that'll be how it is. I've come across two people like this in my entire life. In my 30 years in this career, working with thousands and thousands of people, I've come across two people who actually, going on a keto or a keto-like diet, actually felt amazing in every sense. That's it. 2 out of thousands. Thousands. That's from my personal experience, not to mind all the people that have done it. But the reality is you feel terrible. Why? It's because your brain relies on carbohydrates. Your brain is running carbohydrates. Your body is running carbohydrates. So when you stop consuming carbohydrates, which typical keto, I know there's lots of different versions, but the general typical one, it is highly strict on carbohydrates, pretty much down to zero. They do say you can have vegetables and they count them as carbohydrates. Vegetables have practically zero carbohydrates. So if vegetables are supposed to be classified as carbohydrates, they're not. They're antioxidants, they're vitamins and minerals, they're fibre, they're all those kind of good stuff. Not carbohydrates. It's negligible. The only vegetables that have carbohydrate are sweet corn and potatoes. All the others, zero. Zilch. So they don't count as carbohydrates. If that's what you're on a zero carbohydrate diet, which is typically what most ketos are. So you've gone from having your body utilizing carbohydrates, whether it be good or bad, that's another story, which I will go on to shortly. You've generally eaten a lot of carbs, and most people do eat a lot of carbs, and yes, 100% too much most of the time, and yes, huge percentage of people eat the wrong kind of carbs. But the thing is, when you start to do things, your brain needs to function, all the systems in your body, you exercise, the body is looking for carbohydrates. If it doesn't find carbohydrates, it then looks for fat. And if it doesn't find fat, it then will start eating itself. Okay? That's again where it goes into burning the muscle that you've got. Okay, and even taking minerals from bones and so on. So this is why when you start on a keto diet, you feel terrible. because the body is desperately looking for carbohydrates for its energy source. It's not finding it. Now, it's okay using fat as your fuel on a temporary basis. It's a highly effective strategy for burning fat in terms of, timing your workouts around when you have less fat or less carbohydrate in your system to zero carb in your system, which means fat is the only fuel it can use. But when you go on as a lifestyle and you're having no carbs all day, you will feel like shit because your body is going, where's the carbs? It's desperately trying to find the carbs. It can't find the carbs. Then it's going to situations like not getting fed. So I need to hold on to this fat. I can't just burning all this fat all the time, but it's also needing to burn the fat. That's why most of the time it will eventually then start to burn muscle as well as bone, using leaching and minerals and vitamins out of your bones and so on. So you will always feel bad at the start, and typically it lasts for a couple of weeks. Now this will settle and this will feel a bit better, and it will get to a point where you actually feel okay. You may even feel good. But you know what that is? That's your body's miraculous ability to adjust to whatever you make it do. The body will adjust to good and bad. So you make it do bad things, it will adjust. If you make it do good things, it will adjust. The thing is about doing it consistently. This is why diets have always been there. If you consistently follow any diet, no matter how crazy it is, you will get results. It's not being disciplined and not following it exactly leads to not getting results. So even back in the days of Atkins, ridiculous diet, but it was the first kind of keto type diet out there. Were ridiculous in so many levels, but it got amazing results. Of course it did. It was cutting out all carbohydrates, cutting out a massive calorie source. It was forcing the body to burn fat, but it didn't feel good and had a lot of negative health effects. Now, the keto isn't as bad as something like the Atkins. It doesn't have as much of the negative health effects, while it 100% will have negative health effects into the future. So that's the first thing that I wanted to clarify. You will feel like shit. Your brain will not function right. You will have no energy. It will affect everything. It will affect your mood. You'll be horrible to be around. But then you will get used to it. Now, again, this is why that's bypass. It's never mentioned except as I said this particular podcast, the odd other one, where it is referred to. It didn't even go into detail, though. Just referred to, you don't feel great. That's kind of it. But at least it was referred to. Bypass, because all you ever hear is you feel great. I feel so good. I've never had so much energy. My brain's never worked so well. And all this kind of stuff. What that is your body's just adjusting to what you're making it do. Like I said, the body will adjust to anything. It's miraculous. The body will endure a lot of punishment before it will break down to such a level that it will stop you. That's why people can abuse their bodies to such a level every single day in what they're consuming. All the toxicity they're putting into their body. The body will put up with it for a long time, but it will bite you in the ass eventually. And all that's happening in terms of people sticking to the keto and staying on it and how they feel after a few weeks and they claim to feel good. It's not that they feel good, it's just that's their new normal. For the body, it's like it goes, okay, a few weeks, been waiting for carbs, no carbs coming. I can keep bitching about it and try and make life hell, or I can go, I could just adjust it and just accept it and just continue on. I'll just use fat as fuel since it's the only fuel that we've got here. And then it would just function. It will just function. But you will get used to it. You will get used to anything, again, good or bad, if you do it for a prolonged period of time. So it's just the body adjusting to it. And your body will work pretty good. Pretty good. I've even seen people who've done keto or similar and even have bowel movements. Now that shouldn't happen. For our bowels, we need fibre. Where's the fibre? There's no fibre. Now, if you're eating lots of vegetables, a lot of fibre there. But I've known and know of, communicated with people who were doing keto or similar, and I mean no vegetables, and are still going to the toilet. It's amazing, but like I said, there's exceptions. But that will not be the norm. So if you're on keto and you're eating vegetables, you will have bowel movements. If you don't eat them, you won't. The vast majority. So like I said, one, your body is going to feel like hell, and your brain, everything, when you first go on a keto diet. Guaranteed for a few weeks. Guaranteed. You will adjust to it eventually. Your body will adjust and you will feel, inverted commas, normal. Okay? But it says just an adjustment. That's all that is. The other thing that's really important to deduce, and this is the thing, books and all these things, and this is going on for decades and decades. This is why I always stress the health and wellness industry has no interest in you being healthy. You might think, what the hell? Health and wellness industry, that makes no sense. There's no money in healthy people. If people are genuinely healthy and like their bodies, feel good, all that kind of stuff, and they're happy, where's the money? The money's in people always searching, always searching. That's why it's such a focus on weight and a push on weight all the time. And weight is the worst indicator you can ever use, you know? And same again with diets. There's new diets every single year. There's new books every single year. Before it was like at the start to the end of each year. Now there's bloody multiple times throughout the year. They're just different spins and different things. That's all they are. So, it's like with the keto, it's constantly stressing that you're going to feel good, everything will be amazing. And also, it explains the whole process of what's going on with disease and how it cures disease, or at least decreases the effects of diseases and ailments and so on. And it always refers to glucose. It's always constantly referring to glucose. And even one podcast I listened to, they had a live glucose monitor, and the doctor was wearing, and they ate oranges. And basically the conversation was like, okay, eating that, and then we'll see what kind of happens. And then the conversation was all about, when you're consuming glucose and it does this and that, and it can lead to diabetes, and it's causing all these spikes. And every time you're having the carbohydrates, it's causing these spikes, and this leads to this damage and that damage and so on. When that's just basic biology. But the key question is, what kind of carbohydrates are you consuming? Like when you're going on about how the keto is helping all these different diseases, but the comparison is always towards just glucose and sugar. Almost guaranteed their comparison is to people who are living horrific lives, eating all processed food, eating all refined sugars. You never hear them say, oh, a person who had all whole foods and loads of whole grain rice, steamed whole grain rice, they're eating lots of buckwheat, loads of vegetables every single day, tons of fruit, pure form, smoothie form, whatever, stir fries, raw salads. You never hear them talk about that. All they refer to is glucose and the spike it has. And when you have the keto, you're not causing spikes. You're not causing a spike. That means you're not leading to disease, and so on and so on. But what they're actually comparing to is someone is leading a really shitty lifestyle, really unhealthy, eating all processed food, eating all refined sugars. All the processed foods have sugars in them, refined sugars, as well as all the other chemicals are in there as well. So the spikes are crazy. It's literally like heroin shots of sugar into your system every time you're eating this shitty food. That shouldn't even be called food. It's not food. That same thing does not happen when you eat real food. When you eat fruit and rice and potatoes and different things are real food, yes, your insulin has to spike, but that's part of the process of getting the body to regulate the energy and assimilate the energy and process the energy that your body's going to use then to function. Send it to your brain, send it to your muscles, your overall body, making sure your body has energy to function. It's like diesel or petrol to a car, or electric now when people plug in their cars. Carbohydrates is that for your body. But if you're putting in the wrong carbohydrates, this is why all sugars are not the same, but they always just say sugar. They always just say glucose. It depends what it is. Big difference between having a chocolate bar and a banana. Big difference between having like a ready-made meal, you just chuck in an oven or a microwave, which is where most people do it, making an actual homemade sweet potato and chickpea curry. There is no comparison. Yes, they both will spike the insulin in terms of the carbohydrate elements, but not to the same level. One is through the roof, the other one's just normal. Everything we consume, there's a chemical reaction inside our body. There has to be. It's hardly going to just be neutral. And then they talk as well about, I can't eat as much and I don't eat as much and then I lose so much weight. And of course that's going to happen because you're consuming massive amounts of protein. That suppresses appetite and you can only consume so much. And you're consuming lots of fat. Again, suppresses appetite as well. So of course you're going to lose loads of fat. But eating loads of protein, eating loads of fat is not going to be good for you long term. This is where the long-term effects of it are massive. But at the end of the day, keto sells. It's a book. It's programs. There's influencers. There's inverted commas experts. There's products now and drinks and bars and everything. And it's a big money racket. So of course it's going to get pushed because it's making lots of money. But the reality is that's not how our bodies are designed to survive. Yes, we need protein, good protein. We need fats, good fats. We need carbs, good carbs. And we need antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals, and fiber, and water for hydration. We need all of them. They all serve an important role in our body. Every one of them. any nutrition lifestyle that's void of some or all of them will not be good. You will have repercussions. But to say that carbs are bad for you, you shouldn't have carbs, and wipe out a whole food group, it's totally illogical. Again, that's why you feel such a striking effect when you go off it initially. If you feel a striking effect going off something, it's warning sign. What the hell is going on here? Now, ketos could argue, yeah, but that shows the body adjusts to it because it was so bad for you. It feels horrible to go off it, but that's just like the withdrawal symptoms, like someone giving up loads of coffee, 10 cups of coffee a day. Withdrawals can be pretty severe. So the argument would be, oh, but that's just because it was so bad for you, and now your body's trying to hold on to it, and it's just withdrawals. Fair argument to a degree. But if you're comparing it to someone eating a really shitty diet, yes, that is going to happen because there's constant massive insulin spikes because of the bad food and all the other reactions in the body. But if you were going from like a normal lifestyle, normal healthy whole food lifestyle with normal adequate amounts of carbs and going to keto, you will also feel like shit. You will also feel terrible. So it happens whichever way you're on. That's a sign your body is doing something it's not supposed to do. It's not good for it. So, I said they conveniently leave out what happens for the first few weeks. Conveniently, just loosely use the word sugar and glucose when that doesn't explain anything because there's different types of sugar and glucose, just like there is of fat. And conveniently just go on about all the great energy and everything that there is with it, when the reality is your body's just adjusted because it has no choice. This is what you're doing. And then in terms of the fat loss and how it's so amazing for fat loss, yes, it will be amazing for fat loss because the body has no carbohydrates to burn. It has to burn fat. So I have to agree 100%. You're going to burn shitloads of fat if you go on keto strictly. Shitloads. The problem is when you go off keto, which inevitably will happen for the majority of people, because it's not sustainable and it's not good for you. And it will have effects on you and it will have impact in terms of, again, our bodies will all adjust differently, but inflammation, all that acidity going into your body, all that toxicity going into your body. Like we're not even touching on the impact of animal products in terms of all the stuff that's pumped into the animals, and then you're consuming that. So then you're consuming that en masse. What's that going to do to your body? What's that going to do to your body? So yeah, so I just want to touch on a few different parts of that. But what I'd really love is to hear your thoughts on keto. Have you experienced it? Have you done it? Did you stick to it? Are you currently on keto? How long for if you are? What were your experiences? What do you know about keto? What questions do you have about keto? Because I'm sure most of you are going to have thought of doing it at some stage, because I'm sure you've heard of it at least, and you probably have thought of doing it or done it. And I'd love to get your question, because your question give me the information of what to, do episodes on. And that's a question. But I wanted to just cover those few broad but really important topics relating to keto and the kind of claims that are made out there with all the keto advocates and pushers that are out there. And there's a lot of them, too many of them. So, yeah. So I hope that was informative. I hope that helped a bit. I hope that was also thought-provoking, especially if you are on keto. And like I said, if you're on keto and you're very much in favor of it, I welcome discussion. Please come back to me with some questions or comments or feedback or your thoughts or your experience. I'd love to hear it. So that wraps up another episode. As I said, I hope that was something beneficial to you. Do let me know, and look forward to speaking to you on the next episode. Please go out there, share this, comment, subscribe. Remember, all that helps to get the messages out there. And as you know, I'm super passionate about doing all I can to have a positive impact on people, and then helping people especially get control of mind, body, and health, because that whole area has a catalytic effect in all areas of your life. So when you're truly in control of your mind, body, and health, the impact on your life is unbelievable. So help me help others and play a role in changing lives. Speak to you soon.